in the head. I won't stay dead. Next time I'll do the same to you. I'll kill you. And it goes on and on. The good old game of war, pawn against pawn. Stopping the bad guys. While somewhere, some thing sits back and laughs. And starts it all over again. Risk. Risk is our business.
Out there. That way.
What happened?
Starfleet was founded to seek out new life. Well, there it sits.
Rock and roll!
6.
We're not afraid of diversity. We don't persecute it, we embrace it.
At least I won't die alone.
Join our Federation of Planets. And reach for the stars.
Those were the days.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
Welcome back to another Trek review, where each week we talk about Star Trek. And this week we're returning to the original series and talking about a Season 3 episode entitled Day of the Dove. It originally aired November 1st, 1968. It was written by Jerome Bixby, who had written Mirror Mirror, and it was directed by Marvin Chomsky. The synopsis for Day of the Dove is: an extremely powerful non-corporeal being brings the Enterprise and a Klingon ship in direct conflict with one another. So before we continue, let's cut on over to Caleb and see what Caleb sadly thought of the episode.
Hated it. So good, yeah. No, in all honesty, I enjoyed it.
I don't want to admit it, but
I have no strong opinions one way or the other. Yeah, it was good. It was a good episode. Classic Star Wars. Some alien thing on the ship and everyone's being crazy.
Yeah, it's an interesting episode.
There's definitely parts of it that I like, yeah.
Good. Well, this is the section where we do subscriber shout-outs. So we got some good ones this stretch. Second most recent one is Harry Pothead.
Nice.
And the one we got a day or two ago, I think his name is Death Row 6669. I think that's what it's supposed to be. But anyways, thanks for subscribing, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Welcome
it.
aboard the Starship Enterprise.
Now we can jump into the review.
The intro and like the first thing always kind of run together to me.
Okay.
I like that Kirk got slapped so hard he like fell to the ground. That was pretty good. I wrote down that line that Kirk said, "Go to the devil," which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Because in the 60s they can have like really short skirts, but they can't say hell, so that's good.
No.
Well, it's like you always say, like there's this weird line, like, do they have religion in Star Trek? Do they not have religion? Because like they keep doing things that sometimes are like, no, that doesn't exist, and sometimes it's like, oh yeah. So that's
real.
funny. But did you notice that the Klingons reused the agonizer?
I did. Yeah. I did.
So that was cool. I picked up on that. I wrote down that the Klingons looked more like they looked more alien.
Yeah.
So that I enjoyed.
Totally. The part I had with the intro was just that the planet and the Klingon ship like kind of swooping in was kind of cool. Like I enjoyed the planet like shining with the sun on it and the Klingon ship like exploding and swooping in. And then the other thing that I thought was kind of cool was seeing the Klingons beamed down, like their animation, their
Mm,
transport animation effect for them beaming down. It was different than the Enterprises.
yeah. Yeah, I like that.
That was cool. But yeah, after the intro, I noticed that the hand tones of Kang didn't match his face tones.
Mm.
So when he was like
Well,
standing there and he's doing his like, which one of you was going to
yeah.
be tortured? Is like he's much more like paler white in the
Yeah.
hand.
Well, it's because you can't have, they couldn't put like makeup on your hands because you're touching everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, the thing is, too, is like we're watching it on like 4K televisions
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Back when this aired, it was like if you took your phone and you put your phone on the other side of the living room.
Yeah. Yeah. And like put cellophane, like
Yeah,
wrinkled
over it.
cellophane
Yeah.
over it, you'd be like, this is beautiful.
If you put like Vaseline like over
Yeah,
your
yeah.
glasses, you know, you're like,
Wow.
wow, this is amazing. Look at those special effects. Oh.
Um,
I wrote down,
oh yeah.
hey Scotty, don't talk in front of the Klingons. Like they beam up, they do that sneaky thing. Where first of all, it's like really stupid that the Klingons are like, yeah, just beam us all aboard. Like you obviously couldn't do anything weird. You know, you couldn't like
Impossible.
pinpoint couldn't pinpoint like our DNA and separate us or anything.
No,
No,
impossible.
that's
No, no,
ridiculous.
no.
But then they get on board and they're like, all right, so you guys are just gonna stay here now. And Scotty's like, hey, so Captain, all the engines are down. We got no control of nothing. Nothing's going right. It'll be a miracle if we can even keep this thing going.
Yeah.
It's like maybe don't say all that in front of
Yeah.
the captured people. You know, it's like maybe just wait. You know,
Yeah.
it wouldn't take much, Captain, for a mutiny to start. I tell you that much.
Yeah. Sometimes Scotty doesn't think to
No,
self.
because he's thinking about the ship. You know,
Yeah,
he don't
right,
care about.
right.
Yeah,
The scene when they're still on the planet and Kang says to like put weapons on Kirk and Kirk is standing there and then the
Mm.
disruptors like come in behind his head.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh man, that made me laugh. It's like Looney Tunes kind of thing. Like you there, and it's like like Bugs Bunny scene when the guns all point at him. That was funny.
Yeah, yes, rounded. See.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was about this time when his wife shows up,
Yeah,
Kang's wife, and I was like, okay, I'm not really loving the brown face paint, honestly. I gotta say, it's kind of making me a little uncomfortable.
yeah.
Yeah. And then I
Well,
wrote down a question. And I wrote down, hey, does Chekhov not like Klingons? Because it was like at this point, it was like so over the top, like constantly.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like I hate him. I
I
hate that
hate him.
Klingon. It was like so
Yeah.
so over the top again.
I did think it was pretty cool that they kept them in like the transit thing. Like
Yeah.
I did think
I
that was
like
a cool.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was a good trick. And I like how they beamed in like backwards, like
Yeah.
facing the wall. And they're
Facing the
like,
wall. Oh,
hey,
yeah.
what's going on? And then like two guys just came over and took, all 12 of them.
Give me that gun. Give me that gun. Give me.
Yeah, the other thing I wrote down too was like I thought it was so like Uhura, she
Mm,
got like so mad in the scene.
yeah.
For like a character who like doesn't really show like emotions all
True.
the
Yeah.
time. She
Yeah.
was like, I can't get anything on a cab. She's like throwing stuff. I was like, what is going on? So like, at this point, like you don't really understand
Right.
like what
Right.
I was just
Yeah.
like, man.
I had to refrain from even myself like writing like why this thing, and
Yeah.
then being like, oh yeah, that's right. I remember what's gonna happen.
Yeah, but just like as the first time you're like, I don't understand why these characters are being this
Oh,
way. I mean,
absolutely.
I assume it has something to do with the swirling pinwheel,
Yeah.
the pinwheel of doom. But yeah, I don't know. I like the scene. This is like the last scene I think before commercials when like everything starts like turning into swords. Thought that was pretty cool. That
Oh
was a pretty
yeah.
cool effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
cheaply made prop swords anyway. Yeah.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
very clearly like foam, like the foam swords.
Very much so. Yeah, I think the last thing I had was just that this is definitely the most Klingon behavior we've seen in the original series.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then we come back from our second commercial break, and I thought the armory scene changed to all the swords. It was kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote down you'd never seen such a fine collection of antiques in your life. That was pretty good. Yeah.
Claymore.
The Claymore, you're a beauty. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like that.
that was good.
What did I write down before? I wrote down so like before that I was like, so nobody thinks that like this is weird. Like you just saw stuff like in front of your eyes change into swords, and they were still like, oh, we got to do this thing. Like they're trying to do this,
Right.
and it's not till later where Spock's like, hey, Captain, we don't have that technology, and the Klingons don't have that kind of technology to just turn things into swords. Like that's not a thing, right? You know
Right.
that's not a thing. So like they're not doing stuff.
Right. He was like,
Hmm.
looking.
Are you proposing, Spock, that there could be some kind of alien life form out here in space? Interesting. Interesting.
The thing that makes me laugh, especially with that scene, was like, because it's so funny that you say it, because that's exactly what I thought, which was this is a clear representation of that this show was intended to be. I only have to watch one episode of Star Trek, and you don't have to understand any other
Yes.
context of the
Yeah.
series.
Like you're not
Because,
supposed to remember that there was an alien thing last week on the ship.
right, like, there being an alien that's like bothering them or manipulating them or turning things into different things, it's like they would
Yeah.
just be like, "Oh, here we go again," and just go talk to the Klingons like immediately and just be like, "We're trying to find
Yeah,
the
no.
alien." It's like,
Yeah.
but stick with us.
Well, because even the ending, right, where they're like,
Right.
he's like, "Hey, well, we know you. Well, like next time we run into your species, we'll be prepared. We'll be prepared." It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, but last week there
you
was
weren't.
yeah, that's right.
You weren't prepared.
Carry on. I also wrote down like Chekhov like immediately like goes into like mutiny against the captain.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, they killed my brother. They killed my brother. And Sulu's like, he didn't have a brother. I was just like, what?
Yeah, and then Kirk's like,
But
"What?"
he just said that he had a brother. Like, but he doesn't. He doesn't have a brother. Like,
Yeah,
the other thing I picked up on too, I thought it was funny because remember the original episode where we were talking about like Sulu had a fencing sword thing,
yeah,
and that was like his choice as the actor to not have like,
like a katana or like a
yeah.
sword. Yeah.
But in this scene, he does.
Oh
He
yeah,
has a katana,
yeah,
and Scotty has the claymore,
yeah. Oh, they
and
don't care in
Sulu's
the
got the
third season.
katana. Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, maybe that's a little stereotypical, but like, I thought that was cool. I thought that like Scotty having the claymore being
Oh
like
yeah,
his heritage, and Sulu having like
yeah,
the katana. I thought that was cool.
yeah. I think probably what they probably felt more comfortable doing was since everyone's going to get swords, like maybe you can play to their characters a little bit better.
Yeah. I like how in all these scenes, like everybody has like unique swords, and then when they all start fighting at the end, it's those foam.
Yeah,
Oh, like
yeah.
I was like, okay,
Clearly, like middle school,
yeah, like
class play
drama,
swords.
like yeah. Even Kirk, that scene where he's in the elevator and he's got like the
Oh,
nice like
I
rapier, and
know.
he's like, and he's like bending it.
He's like
Why are
bending
you
it
bending?
and like
Like,
rubbing his hands on it, and I was just like, "Stop!
mm,
Stop! Stop! Stop!"
yes, very fine craftsmanship. Yes.
It's like,
If the Klingons want war, I'll give them war. Like, oh my god,
stop touching it! Stop touching the
what's
blade!
going on? So right after this, they have that sword fight in engineering, which I enjoyed. Sulu and
No, yeah,
Scotty. And then Sulu, I mean, this might be where this comes from. So like in Austin Powers,
Oh, totally.
remember in Austin Powers, he's judo chop. So the scene where Sulu comes running in and he just runs up to that guy and he's like, cha. I was like, oh my god, is that like where Austin Powers like took that from, the judo chop thing? Because it was very
it's
very
anything
similar
from the 60s. I mean, really anything from the
Loved it. Yeah, I really loved it.
I thought it was really funny that they all had swords, and when they come piling out of the engineering room, they're like, don't stab them or slash them. Just kind of punch them a little bit and chop them.
Well, they played pretty hard and fast with like sword damage in this episode.
True.
It is like it's like very clearly like a piece of wood, and they're just getting hit by this piece of wood, and it's like,
Yeah, they get that one guy in the. Remember when they first come out of that conference room area, and they're fighting in the halls, and then he's like, and he stabs the one officer like in the shoulder, and he's like, oh, and then Kirk is like fighting everybody off. Is that's the scene too where they all get in the turbo lift, and I thought it was cool because like Kirk stays in the turbo lift, and like people get off the turbo lift.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we had really seen that yet.
Yeah, they got off. Yeah, that's right. And he stayed into the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so right after that was that scene where basically like Spock finds out that like, hey, there's this alien life form on board.
That's right.
And I was like, I wrote down like everybody's always so surprised there's aliens in space.
What?
And then we got some good computer lines.
Yeah. Yep.
Alien life force on board is composed of pure energy, type unknown. Oh, that was good. And then Bones came in and he was all in a rage.
So when they did the close-up shots of his face, and he was like, yeah. It looked like he was reading cue cards.
Yeah. Like he's reading it in an
like,
angry tone. And then he's like,
he's like,
show a mad face. And he's like,
should be.
Like, you don't keep slashing at a man when he's down. That's an act of war. It's so mad about it.
He was really mad. Then they kind of calmed him down. And then he would get fired up again. And then
peace. He's like, treaty. You want a treaty? Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I hate treaties.
I hate it. Yeah, I wrote down. Yeah, Bones is fine. Just let him go back to work. He'll be fine.
I started to write out in this section. Here's another great example of he comes up and he's like, I have people dying in sick bay. And you're just like,
why are you on the bridge?
Right, then why are you here? Why? But then I was like, no, don't write it because he's supposed to be deranged. Like, this is the purpose of the scene.
Don't you understand? My very presence here puts them in jeopardy. Don't you get it? Don't you get it? Interesting. And then I wrote, so the last thing here is I said, wow, engineering shuts down life support for everywhere else on the ship. I've never seen that before.
Interesting.
Fascinating.
Well, this is the halfway point, so go down to the comment section and write judo chop.
Judo chop.
So when it comes back and they're all like on the bridge, like yelling at each other, Scotty comes in.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like, really mad.
Well, first we get a captain's log because we need a captain's log.
Oh, yes. He's
captain's log.
The thing, yeah.
The Klingons are free. Life supports are down. I should be doing anything else. Like, great. Keep your Vulcan hands off me.
Yeah, that was the part I literally wrote. When Scotty said Vulcan, it sounded like he was going to say something not appropriate for television.
Definitely didn't sound like Vulcan.
It was like, get your Vulcan hands off me.
Get your Vulcan hands off me. It's like,
I was
what?
like-
Oh, Vulcan. But he's Scottish.
Yeah. Oh, I was like, well,
You
wow.
half blood, half breed.
You've jeopardized the Federation!
Johnny. See Mr. Scott.
Keep your fucking hands off me!
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Spock's like, oh, okay, I'll just
Oh,
kill
I'll
him.
just-
That's all.
Yeah, so I wrote down this is no ordinary stress, this is advanced stress.
That's right. That's right.
And then
Yeah.
Kirk's line, I really like. He said, "Look at me, look at me." Like, what are we doing? Like, why?
Then he's like, yeah, because then he says, he goes, "Look, what am I doing?" Right? He's like punching his fists and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't hate you, you green-blooded half-breed.
Oh. Then I think it's at this point
Mm.
what
Oh,
I
yeah,
wrote.
this-
What I wrote was just all I wrote was capital YIKES. Yikes! That's all I wrote.
Well, the first thing I wrote was like, Chekhov is really bad at finding Klingons. Because it's like he ran off,
Yeah.
10, 15 minutes ago, and he's still like, now
He's
we
still-
see him again. He's like, oh, was it Klingon over here? No. What was it Klingon here? No. It's like, yeah, that whole scene,
Yeah.
you skip it.
Yeah,
Skip
okay.
it.
Skip it.
Like, oh, I want to kill Klingons. But I'm gonna kiss you. I'm gonna kiss you. It's like, okay. All
for-
right.
All I'll say is, even for a '60s show, it was like, this
Mhm.
is intense and probably by all stretch of the means not necessary for the show.
It doesn't do anything right for this
It's like
episode
they've
at
already-
all.
They've already set up the premise that everyone is like demented and like aggressive and all of
Yeah.
the stuff, and it's just like this part. It's like, yes, it makes Chekhov seem more evil, but it, like, why though?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can say possibly about it is like, is this like the alien wants to experience something like human
Oh.
like that? I don't know.
It's
I don't think
possible.
it has any place in the episode. I think it directs the episode, other than it kind of leads into like her saying that like Kirk isn't a bad guy.
Right.
But other than that, it's like, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
No,
the
it's-
reality is they touch on that in Private Little War. I think they touch on that Klingons do that.
Private Little Wars. Yeah.
So it could be a thing where also they were showing a Klingon that like they don't do that to their prisoners, essentially.
Gotcha.
But
The
that's
only
a
thing I liked from the scene
Yes.
was when Kirk slaps Chekhov 3 times. Like, that was my. And he just crumpled.
Yeah.
He was about to hit him again, and I was like, "No, don't hit him again." And he's just like, he just like,
Yeah.
his body hadn't caught up to it.
Yeah.
And then he picks him up and carries him off. I thought that was so funny.
Chekhov.
What have I done to you?
Chekhov.
Who? Who hit you?
Chekhov. Chekhov.
What happened to you? He like pulls him and
Chekhov.
just like completely standing on his own.
My boy. Yeah, when he picks up Chekhov and he's like carrying him, did you see like the Velcro strip on his pants? Like where he would put like the phaser?
Oh, no.
Yeah, right as he's walking towards camera with him, you can see it like on his hip, like his thigh.
Funny.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's like clearly where they like slap their phasers on for their when they're doing scenes and stuff.
So they have separate like prop phasers that just have Velcro glued on the back of
Yeah,
them?
they must. Yeah.
Nice.
Then I had Spock does a Vulcan neck pinch while staring at the alien entity.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, they're all in the corner staring at it and looking at it, and then that security officer comes in. He's like, I'm here to kill them all. And he's like, why don't you just go back to the sick bay? And then he's like, no. And then all of a sudden it cuts to, and Spock is just like, and he's just like, but he's like looking over here and like watching. It was really funny.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, so like they finally see the alien. Finally, it's been the whole
Right.
episode. What is Spock says the life form is strengthened by mental radiations of hostility.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow. And then Kirk, my favorite line from Kirk is he says, "We're gonna drift through space with only hatred and bloodshed aboard." I was like, what is this? The mirror universe? Come on.
Yeah. The thing I thought was kind of strange too is that Mara there, the Klingon lady, like never talks until Kirk is talking to Kang. Like she never says like anything when they're like, "Look at this weird alien thing and this thing and that thing," and she's just standing there like, "What?"
Yeah. Yeah, but even then when he's trying to like communicate, she's like, "Don't do it, it's a trap."
Right.
Like, are you blind, lady? I mean, you're probably blind. You have so much makeup over your eyes and stuff, you know?
She had two eyebrows.
Ooh. I like that the entity like heals them and keeps them alive. I thought that was
Yeah.
interesting. And it wasn't until I think coming up here where you kind of figure out like why it enabled the ship to just keep like paralleling through space.
Yeah. Because Scotty's
Was
like, "Don't
just
ask me why it's staying together."
yeah. But basically like that was this alien's like thing was he was going to get rid of like use up the crystals for the engine and like just have the ship like floating in space like for eternity basically.
Yeah, right.
So they could use all the hatred. Use your anger.
We'll have to talk about it when we come back from the next commercial, but I thought about something just now as you were talking about it.
Do it.
No.
Do
it. So then we can move on to trivia.
Oh, not again. All right, now you're overacting.
So John Calicos was originally going to return as Commander Core for this episode.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah, a feature film
Because
commitment.
they talked about this guy like you're supposed to remember who he was.
Yeah. A feature film commitment made this impossible, though, by John Calicos. It said, had the episode featured Core, it would have essentially been a reversal of their conflict in an errand of mercy. In that episode, the two sides fought of their own accord and were stopped rather than pushed to fight further by non-corporeal beings.
Yeah, that's true. Plus, like, didn't they say before in an episode where you were talking about like they wanted space to feel a lot bigger?
Yes, yeah. With
They
the
don't want
other,
to just keep running into the same characters all the time.
yeah. What the heck is the guy's name from Triples? But yeah, Jerome Bixby, the guy who wrote it, original story featured the Enterprise receiving a false distress call from a Federation colony while en route to celebrate Peace Day and the anniversary day of the day the nations of Earth finally made peace with each other. Arriving to the planet, the crew, along with the crew of a Klingon vessel, also lured there to take a false distress signal, are captured by an alien race and forced to compete against each other in bloody duels. The aliens, appearing to be humanoid, turn out to be, in reality, energy beings consisting of a blob of light, feeding off the aggression of the two enemy crews. Finally, Kirk and the Klingon commander realize that they need to work together and make peace with each other, so the aliens won't get violence to feed on. Eventually, the Klingons and the Enterprise crew sing songs and have a peace march together.
Oh wow, that would have been so much better.
Yeah, it says the production staff convinced Bixby that such exaggeration as peace marches were not necessary. Were not necessary.
That's funny. That is a better ending, though, in my opinion, because this
we
one is
are Klingons and we like to.
Peace Day. Is Peace Day a thing moving forward that they do? No. Good. What's the thing in Strange New Worlds? It's like Remembrance Day.
Yeah.
Remember.
Yeah. That was a new
Remember.
concept. That was a
Yeah,
new
cool.
concept. Cool.
Yeah.
Marvin Chomsky filmed this episode in 5.5 days, making him the only director besides Mark Daniels, who shot The Menagerie in 5.5 days and The Doomsday Machine in 5 days, to finish an episode in less time than the usual allotted 6 production days.
Oh.
And then it brings up that Joseph Pevney also finished Arena, which was expected to stretch to 7 and only 6. So,
Sweet.
as we talked about, this episode marks the only appearance in the original series of female Klingons.
Really? The only one.
Only one. Although intra-ship beaming is routine in later incarnations of Star Trek, often in the form of site-to-site transport, this is the first and only time it is done in the original series.
Yeah. It's interesting.
This is the only time Sulu is seen in engineering or working in a Jeffries tube.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, why would he be there, right?
Right.
You don't understand, Captain. I didn't do it. I don't even know what I'm doing in here.
Why am I here? Yeah. This episode affords a third and final glimpse of the working communicators' central spinning moray disk.
Oh, yeah. The moray disk, that's what it is.
Yeah, which was controlled by an inner stopwatch mechanism. Its first appearance was in Friday's Child, an episode we didn't watch, and its second appearance was in Patterns of Force, an episode we didn't watch.
Good.
But I thought you would appreciate knowing that it was a stopwatch mechanism.
Yeah.
That's how it's
interesting. That's interesting. It seems like it spins so much faster than that.
It probably just like maybe slightly optical illusion. I'm not sure.
It definitely is an optical illusion the way that it's like shaped and colored. It like does that weird like pattern. They use a stopwatch.
Yeah.
So just like the little gear that like turns the hand.
Yeah, it must be. You're right. You go.
Why has nobody recreated that? Then why did everybody put like motors in there when they make them? Probably because the whole back has to be off. That's why he's holding it like this.
Yeah.
Call the ship, Captain. Call it.
Yeah. This is the first time it is mentioned that Klingons still used bladed weapons, as why Kirk believes that they are behind the appearance of the swords. In all other series, this becomes a universal fact about them.
Mm-hmm. And their blades just get more and more curved going forward.
Well, they get more pointy and more awful, basically.
Yeah.
Goes on.
They get more dangerous to wield for the user, basically.
Yeah. So that's trivia. And this is where we come back from the commercial break and he says Stardate Armageddon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's like, well, that just for you.
Is it Armageddon? I was like, is it Armageddon? No, it's like just your ship.
Yeah. Well, it's Enterprise Armageddon. It's not World Armageddon.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, Universal Armageddon, right? Yeah. So the thing I have is that the sword fights are fine, but it's very clear that the production crew was trying to save money by not having multi-phaser / disruptor beams like all over when they're like fighting each other. Like they were like,
yeah,
we don't want to do that. Just give them swords.
Yeah, definitely. And I think they bought like 10 of the same like prop swords.
Right.
The first thing I kind of have written down was that like I like how Kirk was like, she's like, well, I can show you where King is, and he's like, all right, I believe you. But then he like still like took her by the arm and like dragged her up to the
oh yeah. Like, yeah. 60s.
So do you believe her or do you not believe her? I believe you. I'll go with you willingly.
And you'll come with me.
Like, to the transport room.
Yep.
So not only, like you said, this is the first time that they've done this, was transport into a part of the ship without getting stuck in like a bulkhead or whatever.
Yeah.
But not only that, but they're going warp 9.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you have to warp the person like basically outside of the ship so that like they beam in
Right.
as the ship is passing through?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Interesting
I saw
concept. Yeah.
space for a nanosecond. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh.
Pretty risky, but then that fight in engineering
Hmm.
was pretty good. This is where I wrote down: use your anger, fight the Klingons.
Use your anger.
Use your anger. I like too. Kirk, he basically says like in the heart or in the head. Either way, I won't stay dead.
Yeah, he knew what to do. He
Dead
knew
red.
it. Yeah, that'll be your new so that your Fallout thing. You'll say this.
In the heart or in the head, I won't stay dead.
Yeah.
So this is kind of when the episode you're kind of like, oh, okay. So they really, really like really want you to like think about like the actions of like war
Oh
and
yeah.
like how it just continues.
Right.
You know, you kill this side, then they retaliate. They kill this side, then you retaliate.
Right.
It's just a never ending thing.
Yep. And somebody's just sitting back laughing, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, somebody's pulling the strings, right?
Right.
And then that poor alien got laughed off the ship. And that was
Certainly did.
God.
Yeah. That was the last thing I had which was it always ends in laughs.
Yeah, it has to. It has to. Yeah. Get off the ship. We don't need you here. Yeah. Me and Kirk are friends.
Yeah. Like, I didn't mind Kang coming over and be like, we don't need an outside source to hate the humans, so leave. Like, I liked his thing.
Yeah.
And Kirk is over dramatic. But the thing that made me be like, is this a Sesame
Bones
episode? Was Bones coming over and he was like, yeah, don't get away. Like, where did you come from?
He's always there. He's always there.
And then I felt like they were gonna put their arms around each other and be like, "And so long, farewell." It's
Oh my God.
it was close. That Peace March was coming and singing songs. It was almost there.
Yeah.
Jerome Bixby was like, "How close can we get to everybody?
How close can I push this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And taste my first champagne.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
They all wave.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I was like, do I feel bad for the alien now? Because he just got he just got roasted.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I do like the fact that Kang is basically like, hey, so like I'm not gonna be controlled by something else into like fighting. Like Klingons decide like when to fight, when they want to fight.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it like for somebody else.
Right.
So
yeah, they
wrote
wrote him pretty decently, actually. I was happy with the way they wrote his character.
Even when
overall.
Yeah. Even when like Kirk was like, hey, you got 5 seconds, or I'm gonna kill your wife. He's like, she knows what she's getting into. Like
right, yeah.
She's well aware of the consequences of being captured. Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Dude.
I just like that they felt more like Klingons. They just weren't afraid and they just were trying to kill things and they were brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was funny though that she thought that the Federation had like death camps and all these things. And
yeah, I like that. I like, and Kirk's like, that's all propaganda.
I don't know what you're hearing, but that's not happening. Well, before we wrap it up, we'll cut on over back to Caleb and ask him, what does Caleb think?
Caleb?
So, Caleb, who gets the Erica Ortegas Award for being most unlikable?
Well, this is the second time in the original series
I knew it.
that I'm picking Chekhov.
Oh, I knew it.
It's like the further we go on to the series, the more I'm just like, I guess I just don't really enjoy Chekhov's character.
Yeah, you don't seem to like the guys at the con.
I like Travis.
That's true. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I don't. I don't enjoy Chekhov for some reason. He is kind of like this little whiny.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. He just I don't enjoy his accent too. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
over the top, and I don't know why they always use him as like the bad guy type thing, you know?
Russian.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
I just don't enjoy him, honestly. I
Yeah.
don't enjoy him in this episode. I really enjoy seeing him getting slapped around. That
Yeah.
was one
Yeah.
of my favorite parts of the episode. So,
Yeah. You think
yeah.
about it, right? You think about it. Black people were treated pretty terribly in this time period. So Uhura's on the bridge, but she doesn't do anything. And it's like, Pearl Harbor happened like 25 plus years ago.
Mm,
And, they're currently in Vietnam. So like Asian people aren't really on the top list of like
yeah.
happy things. So, oh, look, there's a Japanese guy on the bridge, but he doesn't really do anything. And so it's all these normal white guys, and then the one guy who's Russian. I mean, Scottish is just Scottish, like they don't care. He's just a
Yeah, who
different.
cares? Yeah.
But it's like, oh well, here's a Russian guy. Cold War stuff is like happening. It's like, oh well, obviously, anytime he has to be violent or evil or like whiny, or he's gonna make some sort of dumb comment like, well, the only reason that exists is because of some Russian grandmother, a Russian inventor, a Russian whatever. It's like, oh, okay. It's because they're trying to
Oh,
make it look stupid. It's like, well, look, we have a Russian on here, so we're so ahead of the times, but yet we're not going to make any advances in like how we actually treat him or how he's very stereotypical,
yeah, that's true.
So I like Star Trek, and I think it was great that Roddenberry thought, let's put all of these people on the bridge who like are troubled individual, like their ethnic backgrounds and races are considered to be, bad, and here they are on television. So that's
Yeah.
great. But, like what he does with them is like not really that amazing.
hmm Other than just being on television in general.
Right. I mean, to me, I think it would be more empowering that if like Uhura was the captain or Sulu was the captain. Like that would be
Yeah.
more like, oh wow.
Yeah, but then the show would have gotten canceled.
Yeah, they would have been like, we're not putting this on the television.
What is this? What is this filth you want to put on TV?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, we'll be having shows where husbands and wives sleep in the same bed. What is
Oh
this?
my
What is this? Get out of our office.
I don't want to see a married couple in bed. What I want to see is Chekhov. Yeah, the second that scene happened, I was like, yeah, this Caleb's gonna say Chekhov is the most unlikable. I was like, there's no way. Yeah. Okay, so who gets the Elizabeth Cutler Award for being most forgettable?
Uhura this episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
She has that like meltdown in the beginning, and then you never see her again, basically.
She's done. She got her extra dollar that day for having more than 2 sentences of dialogue.
Good.
And they
She
were
deserves
like,
it.
see you later. All right, who gets the Trip Tucker Award for being the MVP?
I have down 2 names, and then I struggled to pick one. I have Kirk and Kang,
Well,
right? So Kirk spends the whole episode trying to fix the situation,
yeah,
but it ultimately, at the very end, is Kang deciding to like not be controlled is what ends up like saving the ship.
I think in the best way possible. I honestly think I'll leave it as both because I think that's a perfect representation
Yeah, teamwork makes
of
the
teamwork,
dream
right?
work, baby.
Like as you said, Kirk is kind of the MVP throughout like most of the episode, but then at the very end, like if Kang hadn't agreed, like it didn't really
Yeah.
matter how cool Kirk was in the episode. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it was the 2 leaders from both sides had to convince everybody to
right,
put down their fighting here.
yeah.
So
I
yeah,
think
it was a
MVP
dual effort.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was right
Kirk and
all
Kang.
along.
That's right. What gets the Shran Award for the best action sequence?
The end fight in engineering.
Oh, okay. Like him and Kirk
Yeah.
fighting in the engineering or out in the hallways?
Everybody in engineering fighting at the end. They were all they were fighting in the halls and they were all fighting in engineering. It was like the whole scene.
I like it.
Yeah.
Cease hostilities. What gets the NX award for some sweet ship stuff?
I wrote down the engine room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That,
I like seeing the engineering room, and it also reminded me of like when we went on the set tour,
oh, okay.
because this is kind of the configuration of when we were on the tour, right? Where it's
Yeah.
the center things in the center of the room with the
Yep.
horde of egg balls on top,
Yep.
and
Yep. Yeah, there's that nice big shot where it's like all the engineers are like walking around and yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
up on the upper thing and stuff.
Yeah.
And even that scene like where you see like Kirk in the middle of the room, and it's kind of like this big room, and you got like the mesh grate
Oh,
behind him where like the coil, the warp stuff is, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I thought it was cool. I like seeing the engineering room like fully.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally. What gets the Porthos Award for being the cheesiest thing of the episode?
That's the ending.
So long, fella.
Yeah, I mean, laughing an alien off the ship is it's pretty cheesy.
That was like generating enough of like radiation to make like essentially like I don't know whatever it was like 80 something people like be absolutely like filled with rage and then they're just like
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. Yeah.
It's one of those things that it's like it's really good. It's fine. Like actually them turning against it and like being angry about it and like get off the thing was fine, but then the laughing starts and you're like, okay. Like
Yeah.
and they try like the Klingon slaps Kirk like really hard in the back and like they try to make it, you
Yeah.
know, like not a big cornball thing, but at the same time it's just like it's just not good.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it until the laughing, honestly.
You're right, exactly right, yeah. And then finally, what gets the Enterprise Award for the best scene of the episode?
So my favorite scene in the episode is Scotty, Kirk, and Spock in the bridge when the power is off and they're
Okay.
having that conversation. They're trying to kill each other, but then they're like talking
Oh,
about
oh.
being used as pawns and how they're not gonna go along with it anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
I like that scene. Of the three of them, I thought that was really good. Like,
yeah. What am I doing?
look at me, listen to me now.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, it is a good scene because, like, yeah, Spock goes to kill Scotty, and then he's like, "Well, whatever. It's not really enjoyable to be around humans either." Type of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I like when he apologizes at the end too.
yeah.
He's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
"Yeah, I said some pretty hurtful remarks."
well, yeah,
Another episode.
of the original series.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that concludes this episode. So go down to the comment section and write what you thought of the episode. Let us know what some of your trophies were. What did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let us know down below. Next week's episode is Wink of an Eye. So far, all the episodes we've watched, except for like two of them, have been episodes that are going to mean something down the road, or it introduces an idea or a concept that, obviously the other series borrow from, like Trelane. The Trelane character may not return, but the concept of him is very much repeated.
Mm-hmm.
But next week's episode is literally just an episode that I wanted to show Caleb of just kind of I don't know, an interesting 60s episode. Let's just put it that way. I think an episode that kind of not many Star Trek series really do. There's about one other episode I can think of that's sort of similar to this. So kind of cool. So that'll be next week's episode. As always, if you like the video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. Share it with all your friends and family and Trek enthusiasts. Subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And ring that bell so you get the notification for when this episode comes out on Sundays or Star Trek History comes out on Tuesdays. And for the next couple weeks, the RPG comes out on Thursday, which we're wrapping up to soon be on our summer hiatus for that. And look for a special episode of that coming down the pipeline in a couple weeks. Before we conclude it, as always, you can jump over to Caleb's channel. And Caleb, just in a couple days, is going to have another podcast-like show over on his channel. Just a couple days after this one comes out. And it is Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
So we've talked about it a lot here on this, where, Caleb is watching Star Trek kind of for the first time, sort of. And he's the new guy, and I'm the veteran. Well, on his channel, he's the veteran with Dragon Ball, and I'm the new guy. So if you like that concept, you like that idea of a guy who knows a lot about the world and the other guy taking it in for the first time, well, follow on over to his channel and watch us talk about Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it's fun.
But not only does he have podcast stuff, he has other things. So, Caleb, let us know what you have in the pipeline.
I should have already had a video out this week. I think I'm doing a update video on the basement room builds.
Yes, I remember you mentioning this.
Yeah. Yeah, so that'll be fun. So previously I finished a wall down there, and this video is about getting a door, finishing the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That's coming.
Absolutely.
Try not to flood the channel with all basement stuff, but it's really the only thing I've really kind of been working on. So.
Yeah, but it's all right. I think people like it. I think people like that kind of transformation videos. I mean, I think of all those channels out there that have the guys mowing lawns, and it's that's all they're doing. And then people are like, I love this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's kind of satisfying.
It is. Yeah. So always you can go over there, give him a like, give him a subscribe, watch all of his videos. That's the next thing to do.
Yeah.
Just watch everything.
I should make a playlist that just has all of my videos and just call the playlist Road to 3000 or something.
Yeah. Public view playlist, yeah. Yeah. So you can always find content either on his channel or on my channel until we see you next week. So thanks for watching as always, and computer end program.
Computer working.
See you guys.
Bye.
The Retrek Review is a Daystrom Holodeck podcast produced in association with the Plastic Underground Props. Hosted by Caleb Stoddard and Will Wilbur. Edited by Will Wilbur. Our intro song is by Kaylee Joy Rookledge. Our theme song is by Samo Studios. And our outro song is by Tommy T. Title card art created by Caleb Stoddard. Trophy art created by Adri Wilbur of Love by the Letters. Synopsis and written plot provided by memory-alpha.fandom.com. Star Trek is created by Gene Roddenberry, and all official clips and pictures are owned by Paramount Pictures. You can follow us at the Plastic Underground Props and the Daystrom Holodeck on Instagram and on YouTube. Thanks for watching.